It is raining tonight. Not heavily, not dramatically, just that soft and steady rain that settles in after dark and makes the whole world feel smaller and closer and more contained. The kind of rain that turns a room into a shelter, that makes the inside of things feel more inside, more defined, more real. I'm sitting at the table by the window. There is a piece of paper in front of me, and a pen, and a cup of something warm that I have been meaning to drink for the past 20 minutes, but keep forgetting about. Outside, the rain runs down the glass in long, thin rivers, catching the light from the lamp behind me, each drop a small, brief mirror before it reaches the bottom and disappears. I am going to write a letter tonight. Not an email, not a message. A letter, the kind written by hand on paper, in ink that can smudge if you are not careful, with words chosen slowly and sometimes crossed out and chosen again. The kind that takes time, and because it takes time, means something. There is a word for a written message sent to someone, usually by post or by hand. Correspond. C-O-R-R-E-S-P-O-N-D. Correspond. To correspond means to communicate with someone through written letters over time. Two people who write letters regularly to each other are said to correspond. It is a beautiful word for a beautiful thing. The idea of two people, separated by distance or time, or simply by the ordinary difficulty of being in different places, reaching toward each other through written words, patiently across whatever space lies between them. You can say they corresponded for years before they finally met, or she still corresponds with her old professor by letter. Correspond, reaching someone with words across distance. The person I am writing to tonight is someone I have not spoken to in a while. Not because anything went wrong between us, just because time moved the way time moves, steadily and without asking permission, carrying each of us forward into our separate lives until the gap between the last conversation and the next grew large enough that crossing it began to feel like it required something more than an ordinary message, something more deliberate, something more considered, a letter, perhaps. There is a word for the distance or gap that grows between people or moments over time. Interval. I-N-T-E-R-V-A-L. Interval. An interval is a space of time between two events or moments, a gap in which something pauses before continuing. The interval between our last conversation and this letter has been long, too long perhaps, but intervals are not always failures. Sometimes an interval is simply what life looks like when you are busy living it, when days stack up without you noticing, and suddenly the interval has become a season, and then more than a season, and the only thing to do is to write a letter and begin again. You can say, there was a long interval between his two great novels, or after an interval of several years, they met again. Interval, a gap, waiting patiently to be crossed. I pick up the pen, and I put it down again. This is the hardest part of writing a letter, I think. Not the middle of it, not the end of it, but the very beginning. The first word, because the first word commits you to everything that follows, and when you have been silent for a long time, The first word carries the weight of all that silence. Outside, the rain intensifies briefly, a heavier burst against the window, and then softens again, settling back into its patient, steady rhythm. I watch it for a moment. There is something comforting about the rain on a night like this, the way it makes waiting feel purposeful, the way it says, "Take your time, I will be here, there is no hurry." There is a word for taking the time to think carefully before acting or speaking. Deliberate. D-E-L-I-B-E-R-A-T-E. Deliberate. As an adjective, deliberate means done on purpose, carefully considered rather than accidental or rushed, a deliberate choice, a deliberate pause before answering. And as a verb, to deliberate means to think something over slowly and carefully before deciding. I am deliberating over this letter, over the first word especially, turning it over in my mind the way you turn a smooth stone in your hand, feeling its weight, its edges, deciding whether it is the right one. You can say, "She made a deliberate effort to stay calm," or "He deliberated for a long time before giving his answer." Deliberate, thought given fully before action. I write the first word, dear. Just that, dear. Such a small word to carry so much. In English, we begin almost every letter with it, so often that it has almost lost its literal meaning. But tonight, writing it slowly by hand on this quiet, rainy night, it feels full again. It feels like what it actually is, an acknowledgement, a small act of saying, "You matter to me, you are dear to me, that is why I am writing." There is a word for someone held close to your heart, someone whose presence in your life has genuine value. Dear. D-E-A-R. Dear. Dear, as an adjective, means beloved, cherished, held with warmth and affection. It is one of those small English words that carries enormous weight when you slow down enough to feel it. Dear friend, dear stranger who became less strange, dear person I have been meaning to write to for longer than I should admit. All of these begin the same way, with the same small, honest word, the one that says, "I thought of you, I am thinking of you still." You can say, "She is a very dear friend, one I would do anything for," or "Those old letters were dear to him beyond any measure." Dear, the word that begins every real letter. I write the name, and then I stop again, pen hovering above the paper, because now that the greeting is written comes the harder part. What to say, how to begin, how to cross the interval between the last conversation and this one without making too much of it, without too much apology, without pretending it was shorter than it was. The rain is steady now outside, a consistent sound, low and full, the kind that fills the silence of a room without asking for attention. I find it helps, having a sound like this in the background when writing something difficult, as if the rain is covering for me, holding the silence so I do not have to. I write, "I have been thinking about writing this for some time," and I stop and look at that sentence. It is true. It is also a little cowardly, perhaps, but honesty, I think, is the only way to begin a letter that has been delayed this long. You cannot pretend that no time has passed. You can only acknowledge it gently and then continue. There is a word for admitting or recognizing something openly and honestly. Acknowledge. 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 To acknowledge means to recognize something as true or real, to admit its existence without hiding from it. In a letter like this, acknowledging the gap is important, not dwelling on it, not filling pages with apology, just quietly, clearly, honestly saying, I know time has passed. I know the interval was long. I am here now. That is the acknowledgement, and then you move forward. You can say, he acknowledged the mistake without making excuses, or she acknowledged his letter with a brief, warm reply. Acknowledge, seeing something clearly and saying so. I continue writing. The letter is finding its shape now, the way letters do once you push through the difficulty of the beginning. Words come a little easier. Sentences connect themselves to each other. I write about small things mostly. The way the autumn has been this year, long and surprisingly warm until very recently. A book I finished last month that I thought they would like. A walk I took in the rain, much like tonight's rain, through the park near where I live. There is something interesting about letter writing, the way it naturally fills itself with small things. Not the large, important things, not usually. Those are harder to write about. But the small things, the walk, the book, the autumn, the rain, these come easily, and they carry the large things inside them, like a small shell carries the sound of the sea inside it if you hold it close enough to hear. There is a word for the ordinary, everyday details of life that make up most of living. Mundane. M-U-N-D-A-N-E. Mundane. Mundane describes something ordinary, routine, not especially exciting or extraordinary. But mundane things, written down with care, become something more than ordinary. The mundane details of a life, what you ate, where you walked, what you noticed on the way, are precisely what makes a letter feel like the person who wrote it. Grand statements feel the same whoever says them, but the mundane things are specific, irreplaceable, entirely yours. You can say, he found beauty in the most mundane aspects of daily life, or her letters were full of mundane details that somehow felt completely alive. Mundane, ordinary things made extraordinary by attention. I write about the rain tonight. I write about how it started before dark and has not stopped since. How it turned the evening into something soft-edged and contained. How it made sitting down to write feel not just possible, but right. As if the rain were the permission I had been waiting for, without knowing what I was waiting for. There is a word for something that makes a particular action feel right or possible, that gives you the push or allowance to do it. Prompt. P-R-O-M-P-T. Prompt. To prompt means to cause or encourage someone to do something, to act as the trigger that makes an action finally happen. The rain prompted me to write tonight, not directly, not with any kind of logic, just in the way that certain weathers create certain moods, and certain moods finally make possible the things that have been quietly waiting to happen. The rain made this feel possible. The rain was the prompt. You can say, what prompted you to change your mind? Or, The music prompted a flood of unexpected memories. Prompt, the small thing that starts the larger thing. I write for a while without stopping, the pen moving slowly across the paper, the rain continuing outside, the cup of tea beside me long past warm but still company somehow. This is what I love about letters, the way they ask you to be present in a particular kind of way, not the distracted, glancing, half-there presence of a phone, but the full, slow, committed presence of a person sitting still, by hand, giving their attention to one person only for as long as the letter takes. There is a word for giving your full, undivided attention to something or someone. Devote. D-E-V-O-T-E. Devote. To devote means to give your time, energy, or attention completely to something. I devote this hour to the letter, to the rain and the paper and the careful choosing of words. There is something clarifying about devotion like this, even devotion to something small. When you give one thing all of your attention, even for a short time, everything that is not that thing falls quietly away, and what remains is very clear and very simple, and strangely enough, very restful. You can say, she devoted the entire afternoon to reading, or he was devoted to his craft in a way that was rare and admirable. Devote. Full attention, given willingly and completely. I have been writing for perhaps an hour now. The letter is 2 pages long, maybe slightly more. It has said things I did not know I was going to say when I sat down, the way letters often do. Something about writing by hand, slowly, in the quiet, allows thoughts to arrive that would not arrive otherwise, thoughts that do not survive the speed of typing, that need the slower pace of ink on paper to form themselves properly. There is a word for expressing something that was previously unspoken or unclear. Articulate. A-R-T-I-C-U-L-A-T-E. Articulate. To articulate means to express something clearly and precisely in words. To take something that was vague or felt or half-formed and give it a shape that someone else can understand. Letters help me articulate things I struggle to say aloud. The slowness of writing by hand creates space for thoughts to arrange themselves, to find their proper order, to become words that actually match what they were trying to say. You can say, she articulated her feelings so clearly it moved everyone in the room. Or, he struggled to articulate exactly what he meant. Articulate, thought finally finding its words. The rain outside has softened while I have been writing, still present, still steady, but lighter now, closer to a murmur than a sound, as if even the rain is winding down towards something quieter, the way all things do at this hour. I look up from the paper and watch it for a moment, the long, thin lines of it on the glass, the amber reflection of the street lamp in the puddle below, shivering gently every time a drop falls into it. I am near the end of the letter now. The ending of a letter is almost as hard as the beginning, but in a different way. The beginning requires courage, the ending requires grace. It asks you to find a way to close that does not feel like closing, a way to say goodbye that still somehow keeps the door open, a way to let go of the page while still holding the person. There is a word for a closing statement, especially at the end of a letter, the final words before signing your name. Valediction. V-A-L-E-D-I-C-T-I-O-N. Valediction. A valediction is a farewell statement, the words used to close a letter or a speech or a conversation that matters. Yours sincerely, with warm regards, with love always, All of these are valedictions, small formal or informal gestures of leave-taking that carry inside their brevity something of what the whole letter was trying to say. I want to pause here for a moment before I reach the end of the letter and talk about something that letter writing reveals. When you write to someone by hand, slowly, by lamplight, in the rain, you discover things about the relationship that you did not know you knew. You find in the choosing of words what you actually feel. You find in the things you decide to include what matters most. And you find in the things you decide to leave out what is still not ready to be said. There is a word for things left unsaid, things withheld or kept privately inside. Unspoken. 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 Unspoken describes something felt or known but not expressed in words. Every letter has its unspoken parts, the things circling at the edges that do not quite make it onto the page, the question you considered asking but did not, the memory you started to describe and then pulled back from. These unspoken things are not failures of the letter. They are simply the parts that need more time, the parts saved for the next one. You can say, there was an unspoken understanding between them, or she left so much unspoken that the silence said more than the words. Unspoken, the felt things that live between the lines. I add one more paragraph before the closing, something I have been circling since the beginning of the letter and have finally decided to say. Something simple, something that says, I am glad you exist. I am glad our paths crossed in the particular way they did. I am glad that even after a long interval, the thought of you still arrives with warmth rather than distance. Some people are like that. The years do nothing to them. They stay close inside you, regardless of the miles. There is a word for a deep, lasting sense of thankfulness towards someone or something. Gratitude. 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 Gratitude is the warm, settled feeling of being thankful, not just for what someone has done, but for who they are. There's gratitude in this letter. Gratitude for a friendship that has survived the gaps, that asks nothing except occasionally to be remembered, and that gives back every time more than it costs to maintain. The best relationships are like that. Low maintenance, high return, surviving any interval you accidentally let grow too long. You can say, I wrote to express my gratitude for everything she had done, or he felt a deep gratitude he had never quite found the words for. Gratitude, thankfulness held quietly and finally said. I write my valedictions slowly. I write with warmth and the hope that this letter finds you well, and that the gap between this one and the next will be considerably shorter. And I sign my name, and I put down the pen. There's a particular feeling that comes after finishing a letter. Not the relief of finishing a task, though there is some of that, but something warmer, something closer to the feeling of having said something true, of having made contact with another person across whatever distance separates you, of having placed something real into the world. There is a word for the feeling of being in communication or connection with another person. In touch. 2 words this time. In touch. To be in touch means to be in communication with someone, to maintain a connection through conversation or correspondence. After a long interval, writing this letter has put me back in touch, not just with the person I am writing to, but with myself a little, with the part of myself that values these slow, deliberate connections, that knows that relationships kept alive through genuine effort are worth every letter, every rainy night, every careful choice of word. You can say, "We have stayed in touch ever since that summer," or "I lost touch with her after the move, but always hoped to write." In touch, connected across whatever lies between. I want to share some phrases now, phrases for letters, for connection, for the particular act of reaching towards someone with written words. The first phrase, "I hope this letter finds you well," a classic, gentle opening for a letter expressing hope that the reader is in good health and good spirits. "Dear friend, I hope this letter finds you well." Formal and warm at the same time, a phrase that has been used in letters for hundreds of years because it says simply, "I thought of you before I thought of what I wanted to say." The second phrase, "I have been meaning to write," used to acknowledge a delay before getting in touch. I have been meaning to write for some time now. An honest admission, not quite an apology, but an acknowledgement that the intention was always there, even when the action was not. The third phrase, "It has been too long," used to acknowledge a long gap in contact, directly and warmly. "It has been too long, and I am sorry about that." A small, clear, completely honest thing to say that carries no excuses inside it, just the simple recognition that time passed and you noticed. The fourth phrase, "With warmth," a gentle, sincere way to close a letter, less formal than sincerely, more personal than regards. With warmth and the hope that we speak again soon. A valediction that feels like the inside of the letter, not just the outside, honest about what the letter actually meant. And the fifth phrase, "Until next time." A warm, hopeful way to end a conversation or a letter, implying there will be a next time. Until next time, and may it come sooner than this one did. A small, light promise, easy to make, worth making. The words from tonight correspond: interval, deliberate, dear, acknowledge, mundane, prompt, devote, articulate, valediction, unspoken, gratitude, in touch, meaningful. Words for letters, for long gaps, and for the quiet courage it takes to reach towards someone after a long silence. The phrases, "I hope this letter finds you well," "I have been meaning to write," "It has been too long," "With warmth," "Until next time." I fold the letter carefully, in thirds the way I was taught once, neatly, so the edges meet without forcing. I slide it into the envelope I had already addressed before sitting down, back when the intention to write was still just an intention. I seal it, and I set it by the door, where I will see it in the morning and remember to send it. The rain is very soft now, almost gone perhaps, or simply become so quiet that it is more presence than sound, more feeling than noise. The kind of rain that you only notice when you stop everything else and simply listen. I sit for a moment longer at the table, looking at the pen, the paper, the lamp, the envelope by the door. There is a satisfaction here that I had not expected when I sat down tonight. Not the satisfaction of productivity, not the satisfaction of having crossed something off a list, but the quieter satisfaction of having said something true to someone who matters, of having crossed an interval that had grown too wide, of having chosen, on a rainy night, to reach. There is a word for that quiet, deep satisfaction of having done something that truly mattered. Meaningful. 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 Meaningful describes something that has real purpose and significance, something that matters beyond its practical function. This letter is meaningful. Not because it said anything extraordinary, not because the words were perfectly chosen, but because it was sent at all, because someone sat down on a rainy night by a lamp and chose to reach toward another person with care and patience and ink. That choice, however small it seems, is what makes it meaningful. You can say, it was a small gesture but deeply meaningful, or she wanted her work to be meaningful, not just successful. Meaningful. Small things done with intention, becoming large. Wherever you are listening from tonight, I wonder if there is someone you have been meaning to write to. Not necessarily a letter on paper, not necessarily tonight, but someone whose name comes to mind when you are quiet. Someone the interval has grown a little too wide with. Someone who would be glad to hear from you, simply because you thought of them. You do not have to write the whole letter tonight. You do not have to find all the right words tonight. You only have to begin, the way any long journey begins, with a single small step. Dear, just that, just one word. The rest will follow. Sleep now. The letter is written. The rain is almost still. The lamp is warm and low, the only light in a room that has held this small, quiet act of reaching without asking for anything in return. Let that be the last thing you carry into sleep tonight. Not a worry, not a task, just the knowledge that somewhere there is a letter in an envelope by a door, waiting to travel towards someone who will be glad it came. Good night. Write the letter, and may whoever receives it feel, when they open it, exactly what you felt when you wrote it. Seen, remembered, dear.